So, welcome back to Holmes Crime and Punishments. So we're on a new case, and I'm quite curious where it will lead us. Let's see what was said about the last case. Mr. Holmes, no matter how famous a detective you may be, I must warn you, you have made a mistake in arresting my only beloved son, Albert. And for what? For the murder of my husband. Everyone knows that he died of a heart attack. What is this fairy tale you have invented of a poisonous plant? Are you insane? Have no idea of my influential... Sorry. You have no idea of my influence. I will crush you. Mrs. Barbara Dunn. Oof. I guess Sherlock is in trouble. Let's go to Scotland Yard first. Actually, I made a mistake. I should have gone to the crime scene first.
Mr. Holmes, whatever brings you here so late at night?
I'm interested in the case of young Leighton Chapman. He was arrested earlier this evening. And accused of a double murder.
I beg your pardon? That case is quite clear to the police. Or are there any new facts that we don't know about?
Who knows, Inspector?
Look, you are free to investigate, of course, Mr. Holmes. Chapman was arrested with a revolver in his possession, which you can find in the evidence room. The suspect himself is in custody.
Did you find anything else on his person?
A few personal belongings. Nothing particular, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Lestrade.
Okay, since we're here, we might as well go see the suspect's belongings.
So this is the gun that Leighton was holding when he was caught by the police. It is a Webley revolver, a reliable weapon. It seems as though the shells were not removed from the cylinder. Two fired. There were 2 shots. These cigarettes are filled with cheap tobacco. Nothing interesting. A cheap watch, bought with his own money, no doubt.
Okay. Let's go to the crime scene now. Okay. Wow. Whitechapel was really something.
Please, gentlemen, leave the scene now. Oh, Mr. Holmes. Is that you?
Good evening, Constable...
Constable Marrow. I was here with Inspector Aberline during the Ripper case, Mr. Holmes, back in '88. But then this is nothing like that case. With this one, we've got the murderer, the weapon, and the statements, which speak for themselves.
Of course, Marrow. But you know that appearances can sometimes be deceiving. Who were the victims?
The two men here, both shot. The stab fellow was Brian Vercotti, a well-known ruffian. The other, Kenneth Butler, a jeweller by trade.
You spoke of statements. You have witnesses?
Well, I was there, so I gave my own statement. And then there were two other witnesses who said they saw the killer Chapman. Mr. Turner, a gentleman who lives in that flat over there. And Polly Powell, a flower seller, who was over at the far side of the street.
So, Constable Marrow, I should be delighted to hear your testimony.
I was standing at the north side of Half Moon Street. That was the side that you came from.
But you would have been unable to observe this part of the street, where we are standing now.
That is correct. But I saw the two victims slowly enter Half Moon Street, and then shortly after, the fireworks started. A few minutes after that, the fellow Chapman rushed towards me and ran into Half Moon Street.
Please continue.
I didn't pay attention, but suddenly I heard a woman's cries and police whistles on the other side of Half Moon Street. I rushed over there and I saw the two dead bodies on the ground. When I reached Whitechapel Street, I saw Leighton Chapman. He'd been caught by two police constables.
Did you hear the shots?
I didn't hear any shots. The fireworks were all over the sky. They were so loud I couldn't hear anything else.
What were the fireworks in honor of, Constable?
Well, today's Queen Victoria's birthday, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, I appear to have lost track of the days. It is May now, of course. Constable Marrow, what else caught your attention while you were running through Half Moon Street?
I saw nothing but rats, and I took the time to light every corner with my lamp.
Did you happen to look up at Mr. Turner's window when you were on Half Moon Street at that time?
Yes, I saw that the window was open, but no one was there. It was dark in the room.
Constable, your statements have been of great value to me.
And I hear the rats. Ooh, the two victims. Okay, let's start with Kenneth. Kenneth Butler.
The bullet struck his head. This man didn't stand a chance. This is an ordinary key. I wonder what kind of door it opens.
Of course, keep it to yourself, Holmes.
A piece of wood that has stuck between the cobblestones. Let us take a closer look.
My gosh.
This shard of wood is quite new.
Okay, let's see the other guy.
A tattoo from Westgate Prison. Vicotti must have done some time there. He tried to stop the bleeding with his hand. Death was not instant. The bullet penetrated his stomach, a dreadful wound. Brian Vicotti suffered greatly. What a terrible way to die.
Okay. Layton's revolver, 2 victims. Kenneth Butler and Brian Viscotti were the victims of double murder carried out by one person. Okay. 2 victims. Okay. Let's give a look around.
Good evening, Mr. Turner.
I heard Constable Marrow reply to you as Mr. Holmes. Are you that detective gentleman? I've heard of you. And, well, I know things about this evening.
Excellent. Might we hear your story?
Okay. Let's get clues of who you are, my friend. War veteran. Weak leg, limping. Missing buttons, poor life.
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
I was already in bed when the fireworks started. A few moments after, I clearly heard 2 gunshots from outside.
Please continue.
I quickly got up and I grabbed the lamp from my nightstand and I rushed towards the window. I looked down and I saw 2 bodies. And there was a man with a gun who was standing nearby.
Where exactly?
Well, near this body.
Did he notice you?
I don't think so. He rushed towards Whitechapel Street without looking around.
Mr. Turner, did you see anyone else in the street?
No, I saw no one but that man, the murderer, the fellow they caught.
Were the 2 shots you heard consecutive?
Yes, there was a very short pause between them, and they sounded different somehow. It seemed to me that the second shot was louder than the first.
That is an interesting comment. Mr. Turner, what were your actions after you stepped up to the window?
I was afraid that the man with a gun might return, so I stayed close to the window till I saw the policeman coming in the Half Moon from Whitechapel. Then I walked out to tell them everything I saw.
You have helped us a great deal, Mr. Turner.
Ryan Turner is around 60 years of age. He is a veteran of the Crimean War, a fact of which he is very proud. His leg was most likely injured during the war, and he has been limping since then. Mr. Turner lives a poor life.
A fairly long pole with a forked end. A fairly long pole with a forked end.
Dark Window Turner's view. Mr. Turner stated that he remained at the window of his flat until the police arrived. However, this is conflict with Merrill's statement, as the constable did not see anyone at the window.
Mr. Turner, you have stated that you remained close by your window after the crime. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, Mr. Holmes. I stayed at my window until the policeman arrived to examine the dead bodies.
That is very interesting, Mr. Turner. Constable Marrow stated that he did not see anyone at the window when he was running through Half Moon Street.
Well, I think Constable Marrow and me, we might have been distracted by the whistles and shouts coming from Whitechapel. We could have missed each other somehow. You understand what I mean? It was a bit of a stressful moment, to tell you the truth, sir.
Allow me to form my own theories, Mr. Turner. Would you mind showing me the view that you had from your window?
Not at all, Mr. Holmes. Please, follow me.
Mr. Turner appears to live very modestly. This fire is dying out. It was last tended to over an hour ago. The papers are almost entirely burned. I am unable to see what's written here. These words are illegible. The papers were thrown into the fire just a short while ago.
That sound of the fire is so soothing.
A perfect match. So, Mr. Turner broke his stick when it became stuck between the cobblestones. He did not mention that he was so near to the victims. The books on this shelf are in a mess. It looks as though Mr. Turner was trying to find something in a hurry here, a short while ago. This kitchen knife is quite sharp. There are pieces of shredded paper scattered over the table. This kitchen knife was used to cut the paper. Mr. Turner was roused from his bed by the sound of gunshots. So, that's the view Mr. Turner had when he opened the window. The dead body of Kenneth Butler. Brian Vercotti's contorted corpse. Mr. Turner had a perfect view of the crime scene. He saw the bodies clearly, and Leighton Chapman standing over them. No, it didn't happen this way.
Okay, let's see if this is how it happened.
So Mr. Turner used a book to hide an object that he found on Kenneth Butler's body. The question is, what did he find? I can see prints from greasy fingers upon the cover of this book. Let us take a closer look.
Moby Dick by Herman Melville.
Well now, what a find! A precious jewel concealed inside a book. A bracelet with a unique ram's head design, a distinctive feature of ancient Grecian artifacts, probably of the Hellenistic era.
Turner could hear the contrast between two fired shots. In fact, 3 shots were made. At first, a single shot was fired, and then 2 guns fired simultaneously directly afterwards.
Mr. Turner, how would it be possible for a man of advanced years, such as yourself, to rush from his bed to the window in a matter of seconds, as you have stated?
Well, I'm able to move very quickly, despite my age. And when the situation requires it, Mr. Holmes.
I highly doubt that, Mr. Turner. I observe that you suffer a severe limp due to your injured right leg. It would have taken at least 10 seconds for you to approach the window. That means you could have easily missed something or someone in Half Moon Street during that time.
You're right, Mr. Holmes. I could have missed something. But it did seem to me that everything happened so quickly. Time can pull tricks on you.
And what of everything else that you told us? Mr. Turner, it is vital that we have your complete and true statement.
Mr. Holmes, I do assure you that the other things I said were most sincere.
Mr. Turner, you were not sincere with me. Not then, and not now.
But Mr. Holmes...
This, Mr. Turner, does not look like anything that a poor man might possess. It is worth more than the home that you live in.
I can explain.
No, merely correct me if I am wrong. You saw Leighton Chapman through the window, but you also noticed a glittering object on the ground, this precious jewel. You walked down and took the bracelet from the body of Kenneth Butler, and when you heard the whistles, you hurried away. That broke your walking stick. It caught fast between the cobbles. Constable Marrow was unable to see you in the window as you were climbing up the stairs on your way back to your flat. Upon returning home, you hid the precious jewel inside a book.
Mr. Holmes, please don't send me to prison. I didn't do anything bad. I'm just a poor man. When I chanced upon the bracelet, I saw it as an opportunity to make a little money. I was desperate. I only took the bracelet, that's all, I swear.
You made a mistake by lying to me. But you are not a criminal. I believe that. Although I must return this bracelet to its rightful owner.
Okay. So, now we have to figure out about this bracelet, where it came from, if it had anything to do with the crime.
I am unable to see any higher. I need to find something to lift my lamp. This should be useful. Nothing interesting here. This is most definitely a bullet hole. The brick cracks are fresh. Watson, there was a third shot fired in this street.
It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes.
Hawks, you startled me
I'll do
with
anything
this.
to save my brother, Mr. Holmes.
Oh yeah, the florist saw
Mrs.
something.
Powell?
What do you want?
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the crime that took place this evening.
Well, I've already gave my testimony, but very well.
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
Yes. I was selling my flowers as usual, and then the fireworks began, in honour of Queen Victoria. I enjoyed those. But then, all of a sudden, a young lad ran out of Half Moon Street and stopped just by me. He had a gun in his hand. He was like a ghost, and all covered in blood. It was dark, but I could see him, because of the flashes from the fireworks.
And then?
I screamed as loud as I could. I knew that a policeman should be on duty in the vicinity. He had no time to escape. 2 constables got him. Then another constable came out from the very same street, and I heard him talking of a horrible murder.
Mrs. Powell, did you hear the gunshots?
I'm not sure. You know, what with the fireworks?
Did you see anyone else leaving Half Moon Street, prior to or at the time of the crime?
No, sir, I did not. Even with all the fireworks, I was very attentive, as I'm always on the lookout for customers.
My thanks to you, Mrs. Powell.
Okay, search archives. Let's go to Baker Street to find out more about that bracelet, and then we go to Scotland Yard and talk to Wiggins' brother.
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
These beautiful antique jewels represent a part of the Hellenistic treasures collection. Depicted are the 5 heads of mountain rams upon a bracelet, necklace, and ring, each made of pure gold. The 5 rams of Mytilene have been missing from the museum since 1885.
Here it is. I need to continue my research in my archives.
Treacherous theft. The Hellenistic treasures were stolen yesterday evening while being transported by a cab on their way to the British Museum to the Glaford Fine Art Exhibition. Pawn shop owner Kenneth Butler contacted Scotland Yard that night and provided information regarding a gentleman who has attempted to sell him a collection of historical art at his pawn shop in Church Street. The police have since captured the described man, a professional thief by the name of Vincent Foley, who had been in the process of escaping London via the port. He was recognized by the surviving driver of the cab that had transported the collection of Hellenistic treasures. Vincent Foley refused to confess as to where the remainder of the treasures were hidden. He was eventually imprisoned. The lost treasures are still to be found.
Here it is. One of the victims, Kenneth Butler, was involved in the story of the stolen Hellenistic treasures. A visit to his pawn shop should tell me more.
Ooh. Okay. On next episode, I'm going to visit the pawn shop and continue my investigation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.